The opinions expressed within the content of this podcast solely that of our guests and do not reflect the views and beliefs of the Bigfoot and Paranormal Encounters podcast, its hosts or its affiliates.
Welcome to Bigfoot and Paranormal Encounters podcast. And now your host, Dave Weichert.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Bigfoot and Paranormal Encounters podcast. I'm not sure what happened there. My video froze up a little bit, so I apologize for that. Tonight is going to be a good podcast. I have not one guest, but I have two. And without further ado, let's bring on our two guests. Billy.
How you doing?
Good. Okay. Just let me make sure I'm not echoing because I heard my voice echo when I first... Okay.
Sound good. Sound good.
Sound good. Great. Okay. So Billy Willard and Gerry Kendrick. I did put the bio up on the all 6 or 7 pages that I put up. So let me go ahead and open the chat room. See what we got here. Hello, Tracy. I want to say hi to Randy, and Randy Shar said hi. Shar, Randy said hi.
Hi, Randy.
And a hi goes out to Randy from Shar. All right, so we're going to start with Bill. Can I call you Bill? Or
Sure.
Okay. All right, Bill, let's start off with you. And Gerry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a question. We'll go to Bill first, and then when Bill's done, you can go ahead and answer the same question.
Sure.
So we'll do it that way. All right. So, Bill, have you had a Bigfoot encounters sighting?
I've never had a sighting. The only thing I've had are quick glimpses of, if you want to just call it a shadowy figure. I've never laid my eyes on it and been able to examine anything. Okay. So the only thing I've had is glimpses. Most of those have been peripheral type sightings from from the side. So no, I cannot claim a sighting. No.
Okay.
I actually have had a sighting.
And I believe that was in 2006.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
It was only probably about a quarter mile from my house. I was going up on a ridge from where I live at to pick up a guy that I worked with, and it was about 4:30 in the morning. And jokingly, the ridge where this happened at had the nickname of Welfare Ridge because nobody worked up there. And there was 3 guys when I was going up there that worked up there, and the guy I was picking up was one of them. So anyway, went up there and picked him up, and we were coming back off the ridge. And it's in January. It's probably about 4:30 in the morning, and it was cold. I mean, blue cold. And as we was coming off the ridge, I noticed something in the ditch line, and it stood up. It was kind of crouched down beside of a tree, and it just stood up and started walking across the road. Well, I had to slam on the brakes of my Jeep to keep from hitting it. I was probably only about 3 feet from it. And it was absolutely enormous. It was probably 3, maybe 3.5 feet taller than the top of my Jeep. Wow. It was covered head to toe in a kind of like an orangish brown hair. The gait was really smooth. It was like a human gait. It was bipedal, but it was smoother than a human gait. The best description that I can give you, and I'm actually going to say, I don't even remember where I heard this at, but it looked like it was roller skating. It was so smooth the way it moved. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I noticed was it had like a scared expression on its face. Like, it was really surprised that we were there. We weren't supposed to be there. Mm-hmm. And under its arms, where the hair came down from its elbow down towards its armpit, the hair was rolled up into like tight dreadlocks. And like I said, I know it wasn't a female because it didn't have the pendulum breast or anything. It was enormous. It was huge.
Awesome. Wow. So since that sighting, how has it been for you? I mean, do you constantly think about it, or has it worn off on you?
I've been interested in Bigfoot since I was probably about 10 or 12 years old. But the legend of Boggy Creek got me. It scared me. When that booger reached its arm through the window and tried to grab somebody, that got me. When I was probably about 10 years old, and it scared me. So anything that I was scared of, I would try to read up on it. I tried to learn as much as I could about it. So I've been reading, and of course, back then, there wasn't a lot of material like there is now. So I would just get whatever I could and, read on it and stuff. And I believe it was probably in 2008 or 2009, I got with Billy and her group, the Sasquatch Watch of Virginia. And I started really doing some investigations. And that's something, like I said, I've always been interested in it. I try to talk to people about it. I try to take the stigma away from it. There's a lot of people that won't talk about encounters that they have because they're afraid somebody's going to tell them that they're crazy. So I talk about it quite a bit just to try to, take that stigma away from it. It's okay if you see it, or, if you think something's up, tell somebody about it,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Gary, I just want to let you know you're echoing just a tiny bit, but you are echoing. Okay. After you speak, I can hear. Okay. Are you hearing that, Bill?
I don't. I don't hear anything through my headphones. Everything sounds clear.
Okay. All right. So the next question I have, Bill, have you done any documentaries, any movies?
Yes. So now I got to put my thinking cap on and try to remember all these. So I did a documentary with it's terrible. I can't remember his name. I believe the name of the documentary was American Sasquatch Hunters or something like that. I can't remember.
Okay.
So I did that. I have taken Fox 5 News here in Washington, D.C. I've actually taken them out on an investigation into the woods, which was very comical because those guys got scared when they heard a buck snort at them. I have, let's see, trying to think of the other stuff. Been in it was on the front page of the Washington Post when we were doing some investigations in and around the Lake Anna area down in Spotsylvania County. CBS came also and did a special interview on some private property that we were researching in Spotsylvania County. They had multiple sightings in and around the area. And that's all I can think of at the moment. If I think of some more, I'll let you know. I have some notes up here, but that wasn't one of the notes. Because if I don't write it down, my memory is like blank.
Hey, let me tell you. Well, I just turned 61. But when I turned 55, that's when my hard drive up here started failing. So I'm the same way. I gotta write everything down, because if I don't, I'll forget to do it, or I'll forget to ask.
All I can tell you is that first expedition, that was in 2010. So that's about the time frame all that would have happened.
Okay, great. I just want to let the listeners know, if you have any questions for Bill or Gerry, please ask your questions, and I'll put it up there so that they can see it. Let's see here. Gerry, how about yourself?
The only thing that I can think of was as a member of the Sasquatch Watch of Virginia, we did an expedition in Dolly Sods, West Virginia. Billy was there, and that was aired on PBS.
Forgot about that one.
That was actually, if you ever get the chance, Dolly Sods in West Virginia and the Monongahela National Forest, that's probably one of the most beautiful places you can go. I mean, It is a spectacular, but it doesn't look like it belongs in the United States. It actually resembles more of Eastern Europe. They've done a lot of military training up there.
Okay. Good. Great to know. Okay, so Bill, what do you think a Bigfoot is?
I have always been of the belief that it is a primate, some type of a North American undiscovered primate. I could accept, I'm going to use the word accept, I could accept if we find out that it's some type of ancient or undiscovered. Well, I can't use the word undiscovered because humans are not undiscovered. So I could accept if it's a Native American tribe of people. But any of those, as far as I'm concerned, because you stop and think about when the founders of the U.S. first came, they talked about hairy giants. When they had the forts, they were building these things, these colonies. They talked about hairy giants coming and throwing rocks at the forts and all types of different things. So they've been here a long time, whatever they are. Right. So I can, but I lean more toward the direction of some type of primate.
Okay. Gerry?
I'm an animal guy. I lean more towards it. It is some type of primate. It could possibly be related to Gigantopithecus. And I would not be surprised if it turned out to be some type of hominid or hominin. It's either, in the Homo category in some way or possibly in the ape category. So it wouldn't surprise me that it's an ancient ape or an ancient, precursor to Homo sapiens. I put a lot of weight on that. People interchange the words hominid and hominin, but they actually mean two different things. Humans are members of both categories. We're both in the ape category and in the Homo category. So people use them interchangeably, but they mean different things.
Okay. All right, Bill, this one you probably don't get asked a whole lot, but I like to ask this question. What would be your funniest moment while researching Bigfoot? I mean, everybody.
Oh no, I got plenty.
Plenty, okay. Yeah, I mean, there's always a few, and I've heard some good ones.
So, Gary probably knows where I'm going here. I got a friend named Tom. Mm-hmm. And Tom is probably one of the smartest hydrogeologists you'll ever come across. This man is published in scientific journals, and he's smart. Okay, he currently works for the federal government with the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. So he likes to go out on these expeditions. So if we would get a sighting or something, he would tag along, because his specialty is, if we went out to a site, his specialty was to get exact measurements and put everything into to scale drawing. Mm-hmm. Okay, we went out and found some prints one time, and he had exact scale where sticks were, where the footprints were, the distance between the prints. I mean, he had all that on there. Okay, he does it all in CAD. So one particular day we had done a research. We had a sighting event that came in right outside of Richmond National Airport, of all places. And we went out there, and it was a lady that had a sighting late at night, close to midnight. She was driving on the property because they were planning on taking this property and redeveloping it and putting like a shopping mall there. And she was sort of a quote unquote, I guess you'd call her an amateur archaeologist. She wanted to find something to stop all this, right? Mm-hmm. Well, she was out there late one night, and she was driving up there's like a road that drives up through between these cornfields, and then there's some wooded areas. And as she was driving, she saw something crouched down, and she said she thought it was a bear because it was crouched down. But then she said as she came up on it, the moon was full. She said it was bright as day out there. And she watched this thing cupping water out of a creek and taking it up to its mouth and drinking the water. So she didn't realize what she was looking at until it stood up. And she said when it stood up, she knew what she was looking at. And then the thing took off into the woods. So I took Tom up there. This was like 2 days later. And we got up there. She showed us the exact spot where she had the sighting. So we decided to research that area. And when Tom comes, Tom likes to be prepared. So Tom puts on this backpack, and I swear to you, that backpack I know weighed over 100 pounds, because he had everything from plaster to you name it, water, everything in there. So we're walking along in the woods, and he sees something on the other side of the creek, so he wants to get over on the other side of the creek. I said, "Here, Tom, you want me to hold your backpack?" "No, I got it." He goes to jump across that creek, and that backpack is like a counterweight. And it's like slow motion. Splash. So he's soaking wet. I said, all the plaster's probably ruined, but it wasn't, because he thought ahead. It was all in Ziploc bags, so it was all good. But I've got all kinds of funny stories with that guy.
Oh my God, that's a pretty good one. Gary, what do you have for us?
Well, Dave, the best thing that I can tell you is Tom is an international man of misery because he's involved in mine too.
Sounds like me.
We were doing an expedition in Spotsylvania County, and Tom wanted to look at this one specific area, and he told us he had everything worked out and we was good to go. And it was Tom and myself and Eric Altman, and there were several other of us. And we're in a couple different vehicles, and we get to this spot, and they turn off through this big gate. And they're driving on down the road, and I'm in my Jeep behind them, and we're going down this road, and there's people out on the porch of this house as we drive by, and I'm waving at them, hey, how y'all? And we go on down the road, and we get out. We drive probably, I guess, a couple miles, and we're looking at this big power line cut, which we did find some like grass impressions and some possible stick structures and other things. But as we get back to the vehicle, there was like notes on our car from the local sheriff's department. They wanted to talk to us about trespassing. And I actually think that Tom and Eric got pulled over and told that they were trespassing. So that's probably one of my best. I've never been threatened to be taken to jail on a Bigfoot hunt before.
And let me guess. I bet you Eric got out of town.
Oh yeah.
Eric, oh yeah.
Eric
That was the fastest. That was the fastest camp pickup I'd ever seen in my life.
I don't think you could have caught it on tape. He was moving that quick. He was like the Flash.
Oh my God.
That was a good one.
Yeah. So, I was on Bill's show recently, and I didn't get to tell my most funniest one. It was back on that farm. And, like I said, we were always being, we had rocks thrown at us and all sorts of different things. But I remember one afternoon while we're sitting there up on the deck, we're eating lunch, and the rocks start coming up and bouncing off of us. And my buddy, he was the guy that was just wasn't a believer in any of it. Ghosts, Bigfoot, you name it. And he's sitting there, and this big, huge corn on the cob, not even cleaned, it just come up, hit him on the side of the face, and it was the expression he had on his face when he looked at me. I said, "What are you looking at me for? You don't believe in him, right?" And he goes, "Well, at least it wasn't a rock." No sooner than he said that, a rock hit him in the back of the head. I was no more good. I was finished. I was done lunch. I just gathered up my stuff. I said, "Come on, man, let's get back to work before we get bombarded." So, I have a question here from a good friend of mine, Randy Stewart. He's a podcaster himself. Let me just find that one question. Let's see, where's it at? Where'd it go, Randy? Okay, let's see. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just like, okay, I think this is it here.
Yeah, it makes it hard. Makes it hard when you don't have a co-host.
Okay, it says, Bill, were you with Sasquatch Radio back in 2016? If so, I was on your show back then.
Yeah. I just sent him a message there. I do remember that he was in Florida at the time, and we did have him on. I'll have to go find that old episode, but he's correct.
Yeah, he's based in Las Vegas now. And did you know Las Vegas has 2 moons?
Oh yeah.
I just said that to make Randy laugh. So I'm not going to go there.
I can get the idea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. So let me see if there's another one. Let's see. Cool. Maybe we can get that. Okay. So he says, "Oh, okay, that was you. I'm sorry." See,
I told him. Yeah, might as well get him back on. It's been a while.
I told you my hard drive don't work too good either. So. All right, let me get back into. All right, we got the funniest. Let's get the most scariest.
Oh yeah. All right. So the most scary. Well, there's actually two, but I'm going to give you the one that I think is the most scariest. It was the one that my heart felt like was coming out of my chest. So we decided to do an expedition into the New Jersey Pine Barrens. And we had done, again, Tom's with me. Okay, it's another funny story attached to this, so it's funny and scary. So I let Tom examine all the topo maps. He found this perfect abandoned cranberry bog. And he said, you know what? If I was a Bigfoot, that's where I'd be at. I said, okay, Tom, well, let's go out there tonight. So we did. So it was just me and Tom. The rest of the crew went in other directions. Now we set ourselves up. We found this nice little bank between the cranberry bog, and then we had a little small swamp in front of us, and then nothing but woods as far as it goes. And we decided to set our chairs with our backs to the cranberry bog, because in our mind, well, we know nothing can come from behind us through there. Big mistake. Okay. So we're out here. We've got our parabolic mics all set up. I put mine on a tripod, just so I can kind of turn it. And we're listening and we're hearing, and this is right around 10:15 at night is when we first start hearing what sounds like bipedal footsteps in the woods. So we're really, concentrating on that. And every now and then you could hear like it stepping in a little bit of water. So we knew it was getting pretty close because, it's swampy right in front of us. Well, this goes on for over an hour. I mean, just listening to this, it was stealthy. It was being very careful. And it was almost like it was trying to sneak around. I'm going to say right around 11 o'clock, it got totally silent. And when I say silent, there wasn't nothing making a noise. There wasn't nothing moving, nothing. So we're sitting there and we're kind of in, attention mode now, because we know something was there. Mm-hmm. Right about, I don't know, I would say it was about, now when we first went out there, I'll just back up a minute. When we first went out there, we scoped the area. So we could see clear across the cranberry bog, clear through the trees, because, everything's pine, so you can see right straight through all that stuff. All the way around, clear as a bell. And that's when we sat down at like 9 o'clock. So here we are at about probably 11:15, 11:30. And we've done heard all these footsteps, and then everything has stopped. We're trying to pay attention. Tom's got his night vision out, looking through the woods. Everything we're focused on is up front. About that time, I mean, out of the dead silence, kaplash! Right behind us. It sounded like something threw a meteor-sized rock into the water. Or it sounded like somebody doing a cannonball. Mm-hmm. And we felt the mist of the water on the back of our necks. So at that point, we knew whatever it was close. So Tom, being Tom, he's in his camping chair. Well, he gets stuck. It scared him so bad, he jumped up. The chair was stuck to him, and he rolls down the bank into the swamp.
Wow.
So meanwhile, I'm like, I'm going to catch this dude. I got one of those 10 million candlelight lights right beside of my chair. I pick that thing up, hit high, turn that beam around. We couldn't see 5 feet. The fog was all over the top of the bog. You could not see nothing at all. So I'm like standing here trying my best to see through this fog, and I can't see anything. I'm just watching for something, listening for water to move. Meanwhile, Tom's down here trying to gather himself and get back up the bank. And at that point, we both looked at each other and said, it probably is best to get on out of here right now. So we get our stuff and pack. We don't need packing. I got the parabolics hanging off the tripod. I'm not packing nothing. So we're slowly walking out of there. We got this fog bank on our left the entire time we're going out. And we're about a mile in, so I got my remote start, and I keep pushing it, just trying to get the truck to start. We're like a mile out. I'm like, just start, truck, and turn my lights on, right?
Right.
So we're going out. We're just on high alert. Finally, we're probably like a quarter mile away from the truck or so, and it starts, and the bright lights are on, right? So we can see way ahead of us. So, it gives us a little encouragement, to get to the truck. So we put everything in the truck, and they'll close up the doors. And as we're driving out, the road that we came in on was really narrow. So the branches of like pine trees are like scrubbing the truck. And we both looked at each other and we're like, man, if anything jumps out of these pine trees right now, we'll both die right here. That's the most scared I've ever been in my life. To have something that close and you couldn't see it. And you knew it was right there.
Right. Well, I'll tell you what, that would be me folding up in a chair, and I probably wouldn't have been able to get up on my own. I'd have somebody would have had to help me, because if I'd have got up on my own, I'd have probably went back down 2 or 3 more times. So, yeah.
Billy left one thing out. If you know Tom would be about 7.5 feet tall if he stood all the way up. He's kind of slouchy a little bit. He's a really tall guy. He's and he's a little bit on the gawky side. He's not the most coordinated dude I've ever dealt with.
Right. Yep.
So when he stood up to the, I'm just trying to picture this. The chair was still attached to his rear end.
The chair was still. He went down. The chair went with him. Yep.
Wow.
It was just hilarious. I wish I'd have had a camera set up somehow, just to catch that, because that would have been a perfect video.
That definitely, that would have been me. What do you have, Gary?
This is in the same place in Spotsylvania County. This actually deals with a known animal that supposedly does not exist in Virginia. Me and a guy I was with, Brandon, we were out and we were walking around this really swampy area, and the people had told us that there was big cats there. And it's probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We stayed up really late, and we was trying to get that nocturnal, whatever's moving at night type of deal. And I didn't have my firearm with me. All I had was a machete. And we come out in this big open swampy area, and we were shining lights, and we see this really large, and I don't mean house cat, I mean really large cat, and it lays down and it's looking at us. And I mean, I've got eye shine and everything. And Brandon's like, what is that? And I was like, dude, I think that's a mountain lion. And he's like, they don't exist here. I said, hell him. So anyway, this thing is just laying there, and I can see its tail wagging, And I'm like, dude, this thing's getting ready to pounce on us. And I mean, we were probably 20 yards maybe. That cat could have closed that in no time. Brandon said, what are we going to do? I said, dude, we got to try to make ourselves look as big as possible, and we're going to rush it. I said, they don't want to attack you from the front. They want to attack you from the back. And he's like, are you sure that's going to work? And I was like, dude, if we turn around and try to get out of here, I'm pretty sure we're going to get attacked. And he's like, okay, man, we're going to do it. So I pulled my machete out, and I've got it held above my head, and I make both arms up, and I'm trying to be as loud as I can. And I go rushing hard as I can run at this cat with that machete, and I'm hollering and stuff like that. And I get pretty close to it, but it stands up and it finally runs off. And I'm like, Billy, my heart is about to explode. I'm about to fill my Pampers up. It was bad. And I turn around and look. And when I turn around and look, Brandon is still standing in the same place we were standing at when we first saw it. And I was like, oh, my God. So I was about to go toe-to-toe with 100-pound mountain lion by myself.
By yourself, yeah. Wow.
I asked Brandon, I said, why didn't you follow me? And he said, you look like you were doing a good job.
You were doing a good job. How about that? Okay, Bill, this next question, why is it that you think Sasquatch avoids humans when being spotted and just walks away? I have read about other reports where people claimed, they had it out with Bigfoot, or, Bigfoot just picked them up and threw them, or, but why do you think they try to avoid us?
Well, I personally don't think they want any interaction with us. I think they've probably observed humans in one way or the other long enough to realize that we're unsafe with each other. So they probably know to just avoid us. And, I often think back, you hear all these stories about, people finding these tribes that they never knew existed, filming these tribes and like into Amazon and stuff like that. I mean, why do you think those people stay isolated? It's really no different. These things, they're fine on their own. That's the other thing that I've always found kind of funny. People wanting to protect them. Well, I don't think they need protection, obviously. They're doing pretty well on their own. So they don't really need any protection from us. The only thing that really would be a risk is, the development. We're kind of crunching their area smaller and smaller and smaller. But other than that, they seem to be doing just fine on their own.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Gary?
Dave, I think it's kind of a twofold answer. I think first of all, it's a predator response. If you spook a predator while it's trying to hunt, it's automatically going to leave because you've ruined its chances of getting food. I think that's one of because you hear a lot of reports about, I was hunting and we saw it and it saw us and it just run off. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But the other that I think is probably a learned behavior, whereas a Sasquatch may show up in a field and a hunter takes a shot at it. And they, automatically that makes you dangerous. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think. I think it's either a predator response where we've interrupted their hunt and they're going to leave and go someplace else to try to get prey better, or like I said, it's a learned behavior where they realize humans are dangerous.
Okay. All right. This next question, I've heard the two of you speak about it, and sometimes people, let me get this right. Is it barred owl?
Barred.
Barred. Okay. I'm going to play something real quick, and then you can go ahead and let me see. Okay. Here we
Now, I see the dog is interested.
Yeah.
I would venture to say, yeah, that's a barred owl. But I almost heard what I thought sounded like a crow mimic.
Okay.
A couple of those high pitched ones almost sound like a crow imitating I don't know if that's the case, but it was kind of interesting, that higher pitch one.
Okay, let me ask you this: did that video play okay when you're in?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, I seem to be having a glitch on my end when I play a video. On my end, it plays for 3 or 4 seconds and then it freezes.
Huh.
And
That's
it looks like it's not playing, but I've been told by more than one person that it plays fine on the other end. I just have to wait for it to finish while it's froze on my end to come back in there. So yeah, I've heard not just the two of you talk about it, but others mentioned that people have mistaken sounds of Bigfoot with the owl.
Yep.
Okay.
Just to be straight with you, Dave, what you played there, that's a barred owl mating call.
Okay.
That is the Barry White album for barred owls.
Okay.
That's their mating call. And they go through several ranges. And one way to, for me to recognize animal calls is I try to equate it into what it sounds like if they were speaking English, But a barred owl says, who cooks for you? So if you listen to it, you can hear it go. So that's good. That's a barred owl. And the low guttural stuff where they it's almost like a growl. That's, the mating call. That's where they're trying to get them interested. Barred owls are real prevalent where I live at. I've heard them a lot. I have heard barred owl calls that are.
There you go. Look, sir.
Not owls, but
It's dog.
It's a deeper, more guttural. It's almost, instead of being the higher pitched owl, you get a really deeper, like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And we don't have an owl that's, that deep. We do have some barn owls, which does have a deeper call, but it's not, it's not the same. There's a big difference between them. But I have heard what I think is a mimic.
Right. Okay, guys, we're going to take a quick break. I am going to play a video. I know it's going to play, right? So I'll just kick back. I get nervous when it freezes up, and I just think, it's not working. But like I said, I've been told that it plays fine on the other end. I just got to get to the solution to fix it on my end. But here we go. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk more with Bill and Gerry. All right, there we go. So that's an event that Eric Altman has put September 6th and September 7th of this year. And I'll be providing sound system for the guest speakers as well as karaoke. And I think there's going to be some so, all right. Let me go back. Let me open the chat room back up. Okay, there we go. All right. Here's a question for you, Bill, and this is from my friend Tracy Jones.
That's a good question. To be honest with you, I let them have their own opinion. I don't let them get to me. It's good to be skeptical on a lot of things because sometimes we can take things a little too far and stuff like that. So I think skeptics are good. But just like some of the, what's the new term they use? The woo.
The woo.
You hear about the woo? I think Steve Cole's coined that one. I think, you can go too far in that direction, but you can also go too far in the skeptic direction. So you got to find that middle ground. I do talk to skeptics, and I don't have a problem with them telling me their opinions, just like I tell them my opinions. And I think that's the best way to handle it. I think, the fighting and stuff we see on social media is unnecessary. I've seen long friendships end over the real ridiculous banter, of that kind of thing. Right. So, yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with having two-way communication. And, if you don't agree, then you don't agree. Just agree to disagree.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. I before we go to Gerry, I just want to add one thing. I will listen to someone. I will listen to their story, their encounter. I will not ridicule, regardless of how bizarre it sounds. I just have a passion for what I do, and I respect everyone. So, Gerry, what do you think?
Yep. I smack him in the face with a footprint cast. I want to play it. The best way to deal with a skeptic, in my opinion, and I'm pretty much right along the ways with Billy. I listen to what they have to say, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the same thing. Well, if they're out there, why haven't I seen one? We have researchers that pretty much know it exists that haven't seen one. Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I use is a little bit of science. I like science. Okay. One of the big things that I say is, have you ever seen a skunk in the woods? Now, 9 out of 10 people that spend a lot of time in the woods are going to tell you, no, I've never seen one in the woods. Well, there's thousands of them because you see them dead on the side of the road everywhere. Mm-hmm. But you will rarely see one in the woods. Another thing, too, is like known species. Chimpanzees is a good example. We know that species exists, but there is no fossil evidence that supports it. They found I think it's just within the past year or so, 1 jawbone and 3 teeth that were fossilized of a chimpanzee species, and they think they may have come from the same individual, but they're not for sure. So there's not any fossil evidence because this could be a relatively, in the realm of life, a relatively new species, just like the chimpanzees or gorillas or anything like that. And there's just no fossil evidence of it. And a lot of people will stop and think about that. And that kind of, I don't like to argue. That's the first thing. I don't like to argue. I don't want to sound like a smart aleck. That's my main thing. And I just try to keep things on an even kilter. If it's getting to the point where I see the person's going to argue, then I hit them with my, old standby. You could be right. And then I walk away.
Okay. All right. So, Bill, when researching Bigfoot in the woods, what part of the research do you enjoy the most?
The peace and quiet.
Peace and quiet.
I honestly love to go out into the woods, and I'll do a little bit of hiking, and then I will literally find a spot, have my camping chair, and sit down there for several hours just being totally quiet. And eventually what happens is you'll hear the squirrels get more active, the deer get more active, all the animals just start moving around and know you're there, but you're not. They don't seem to have any fear of you if you're sitting there being quiet and you're not doing anything. And before long, the forest comes alive. I like to just sit out there and just enjoy that peace.
Gerry?
It's going to be a hard one for me. I really enjoy, nature. I like the outdoors. from time, not really as able as I used to be, but I like getting out and, Billy used to call it grazing through the forest with Gerry. I find wild edibles and, I can pick a snack every now and then, but that's one of my favorite things is to find proof that there is food out there that could support something, the size of Sasquatch.
Right. Okay, I'm just trying to find something here. I want to make a quick announcement. I started something new. Let me just put this up there, and then I started the Bucks County, PA Bigfoot meetup group. We haven't had our first meeting yet, but I'm going to be doing 2 meetings a month, and that's right here in Bucks County, PA. So I just wanted to put that up there, and I want to thank my good friend Randy for making that for me today. And you did a really good job. Thank you, Randy.
Looks like Randy has taken after one of our guests. He must be the comic in the group.
Is Randy a comic?
If you think the ticks are bad, you should meet Mick's ex-wife's mom.
Yeah, Mick's ex-wife's mom, yeah.
Love to walk naked in the woods, but the ticks are a killer. Yeah, he's definitely a comic. Yeah, you get that out of there. Okay, all right. So the next question I have. Gerry, did you give an answer? My hard drive's not working again.
Yeah, mine's not that good either. What was the question?
When researching Bigfoot in the woods, what part of the research?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. My hard drive freezes up too once in a while, and I just want to be sure. So
I'm at that age when you say it shuts down.
Now this one has this question has something to do with trail cams. What is your theory on how Bigfoot reacts to them, and what do you think we can do to better our chances of capturing a Bigfoot?
Well, some listeners may know that one of my mentors was William Dringennis. Now, Dringennis used to build security camera systems for the CIA and the FBI.
Okay.
And he had a theory, which I've come to agree with because he showed me the proof, is that a lot of these infrared trail cameras give off sound. I would have never believed it if he wouldn't have showed me. So he had a special detector that could pick up sound that we can't hear with the human ear. And every time that one of these cameras would trigger, they give off a sound. And it sounded loud on this detector. And every single trail camera does it. So it was his, and if you watch some of these trail cameras that take pictures of deer, you'll notice the deer seems to be looking straight at the camera with the ears straight up. Almost like they heard something.
Right.
So he started noticing that, and that's when he started testing it. So he came out and he decided to build a camera system. He called it the I Gotcha. And they were small, no bigger than a finger. Okay. He developed them in such a way where it would block all of the sound given off by the camera. So he ended up getting a contract through Virginia Tech with the National Park Service over here in Prince William County Forest Park. And he deployed a bunch of these cameras. Now, the National Park Service had been trying to, gather, as much of the population to see what all was there in the park, and they wasn't getting near as many pictures. When William Dringennis put these I Gotcha cameras out there, that's when they learned, and Gerry, here, you go crack up. This is when Prince William Forest Park learned that they had 2 cougars in the park. Now, National Park Service was told this. They know it. They have the video. Okay? But if you talk to any of these game wardens or any of these other people, they'll tell you no, there's no cougars in Virginia. So, but he caught them on those cameras, and he was catching 3-4 times more pictures than they were ever catching. So these animals, probably including Bigfoot, can hear these cameras, possibly smell them, because he used to drill them and put them in logs. So that way it you didn't have any exposed plastic or anything like that. So he always thought that they could either smell them, hear them, can they see in the infrared? The infrared, we don't know. But he always thought that there was some reason why the trail cameras were unsuccessful.
Okay. Gerry?
I'm going to go along with quite a bit with Billy. I've actually talked to William Dringinnis, and as a hunter, I don't use trail cameras myself because I don't trust them. And one of the things that I think anybody that hunts that uses trail cameras, if a bear comes near your trail camera, they'll take it and they'll chew it. And the plastic that they use in the coverings of these trail cameras, from what I've read, smells like formic acid, which is given off by ants. And so the bear thinks it's a food source, that it can get into those ants. Another thing, too, is I kind of, I can't be for sure because I don't have one tied up in the barn that I'm down there checking every day. But I think that they might be able to see into the infrared spectrum and that they can see the infrared barrier. And if that's the case, then, here's a big line across a trail that they can see. And, that's I think they can hear it. I think they can see it. And I think they can smell it.
That's a good answer. I just want to add this. When I go out into the woods, if I'm filming in front of me, I'm also filming what's behind me. A lot of people fail to worry more about what's in front of them than what's behind them. Have you ever noticed that?
Yep.
Yeah. So when I'm in the woods, I will film in front of me and what's behind me. Because who's to say, as you're walking forward and filming, there's not something crossing your path behind you. So, okay, let's see. I have one more. We're at the top of the hour, not 9 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and I have one more question, and then we're going to get your information out there, and let you tell the listeners how you can be contacted. Yeah. When Bigfoot structures are found, how do you react to them? And do you agree with this? Do you think researchers should think from outside the box rather than just, I know that was Bigfoot?
Yes. You always have to think outside the box. There's many things that people don't realize many times that natural disaster type phenomenon with the weather can cause that you would never imagine. I mean, some of these tree twists, people, it's the only twist in the forest. Well, I've seen strange things happen with touchdowns that'll touch one area and the spout go right back up. There's lots of weather phenomenon, that can lay trees over in one direction. The only time I get, I guess what you want to call excited, is when I see a structure that is an interwoven structure. Okay, not stacked or anything, but this thing is wove in and out. Okay, that's a different story. That either someone did that or something did that. That's not a weather phenomenon. Anytime it's something that's sewed or weaved into one another, that's where I get interested. But most of these other structures, you can pretty much prove without a shadow of a doubt, or some type of weather phenomenon.
Okay. Gary?
I'm going to start this one off with, I do believe that Bigfoot makes some type of structures. But I'm really skeptical with a lot of them. I'm like Billy, if it's pretty intricate, it's something that, I look for. If it's woven or anything like that, there's too many natural phenomenons that cause bent trees, twisted trees. You have snow load, wind, even high rain will cause a tree to list one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to something that's, like I said, it's pretty intricate. It's woven. It's you might have structures where something's stacked in one direction and then something else is stacked in a different direction. Anything like that, when I come up on it, that's where the skepticism starts kicking in, because I really do think out of the box. Because the first thing I think of is, well, maybe somebody was here hunting and they wanted a little shelter, keep the rain off of them, the snow off of them, whatever. Right. So that's the first thing that I look for. Is it big enough for something that's, 7 feet tall, on the low end? If it's, big enough for something to get in there and stand or lay down or whatever.
Right.
Like I said, I'm not a real big guy. I'm kind of a short king. I'm 5'8". So if I can get in it and lay down in it and stuff like that, then I think more than likely that's probably a hunter. Okay. But if it's a fairly massive structure, I don't know too many hunters that's going to spend the time that it takes to build this big, massive, woven, intricate structure just to hunt for a day or two. So that's kind of what I look for.
Yeah, and I don't doubt that somebody would do that just to play a joke. But when you go into the woods and you're deep in the woods, let's say you're at least an hour and a half to 2 hours in, and you find those tree structures, I guess you still have to think from outside the box, because like Bill said, and yourself, there's many natural things that can do that. So
as far as the big trees go, Dave, if you can look at a row of trees and the trees are all bent in one direction,
okay,
more than likely that's some type of weather phenomenon. Even if it is kind of parallel to like a game trail or something like that, that's more than likely some type of weather phenomenon. Or if you look down a line of trees and there's some bent one way and there's some bent the other way and there's some that's twisted or whatever, that's more than likely some type of weather phenomenon. But in the same respects too, if you're walking a trail and there's a bent tree here, and then 20 yards later there's another bent tree that follows the trail, and then as the trail curves up, there's another bent tree that follows the trail. That I think would be more of some type of trail marker. Okay. That could be Bigfoot related.
There you go. All right. So, Bill, if anyone wants to get in touch with you, how can they do so?
The best way is you've got our YouTube channel up on the screen now, so you can contact me that way. I also have a website, which is SasquatchWatchRadio.com. You can reach me there. And then we also have a Facebook page. If you just go to the search bar in Facebook, type Sasquatch Watch of Virginia, you'll also find our group, where we have a group of folks in Virginia that we all kind of talk with one another, put up, interesting news stories and things like that. Podcasts. We allow people to put their podcasts there. So you can find us there also.
Okay. And Gary?
I'm on Facebook. It's just Gerry Kendrick, GarryKendrick. That's really about the only one that I have. You can get at the Sasquatch Watch of Virginia page. I'm there also.
Yep.
Okay, great. Let me just look at the chat room and see if there's any. Okay, let me just put that up there. Great show, Dave. Everyone, subscribe to Dave's show. Thank you, Randy. All right, gentlemen, you've been great guests, and I would love to bring you on again, and I'll be in touch, and we'll set something up, and in the near future. Right now, I'm not feeling too good, but we all go through that. So,
Yep.
I want to thank the listeners for tuning in tonight to watch the podcast, and let's see, love you, brother. Okay, is that bro or brother? I'm only joking. That's me. So one more time. If it was me to fold up in a what do they call them? Those chairs you take to like a baseball game where you unfold them. Yeah, it would definitely be me that would fall down and stay down. Yeah. So, guys, I've had a great time. Asking you questions and talking with you. So stay in touch, and if you guys need anything, just I'm just a click away. And thank you both for being our guests tonight, and thank you again. Stay safe and stay well.
Yep, you too.
You too, brother.
Okay. Let me just get my hard drive working here. Let's see, where are we at here? Okay. Here we go. Gentlemen, good night, and thanks again.
Good night.
Good night.
Now that time it did end.
It did end. Okay.
That time it stopped after 3 or 4 seconds.
All right. All right. Let me hit that again. See what happens.